Talking to Paul Amato, a Powell resident, writer, actor, who's been in the business for a number of years, and we're here to talk about what you've been up to, even more recently or in your past, whatever you're comfortable about talking about. This is from the archives, and you've been a Powell resident for how long?
I believe I'm going into the 11th year, 10th year, 10 years anyways, yeah.
So, where are you from, Paul?
Well, I was born in Italy, but raised in the beaches. So, beach of Toronto, whatever.
When you say born in Italy, what part of Italy were you?
Southern part of Italy, Calabria, Santo Stefano, which is a small town in Calabria.
Okay. Any memories of that?
They're vague. They're, you know, my parents came here when I was like 3 years old, so I have some images and memories, but they're just fragmented, you know, not anything solid.
As an immigrant myself, who came over when he was 7, do you remember a boat ride?
I was told by my mother that I cried all the way across on the boat because I didn't really want to leave. So I never got seasick. I seemed to be okay with that, but I was just not
happy.
Not happy about going wherever we were going. Yeah.
Some immigrants' experience is remembering Pier 51 in Halifax.
I was a little too young for that, but yes, that did happen. I believe the boat landed in Halifax, and then a train from there to. We had relatives that were already in Toronto and in the beaches, and that's what brought us over. So that's where we ended up. Yeah.
Now, so you're brought on the beaches, and presumably Canadian education, high school, college, what?
All of the above. I went to Key Beach Public School, Fairmount Park Secondary School, grades 7 and 8. They had that separated at one time, and then Monarch Park High School, which is all in the east end of Toronto.
And did you have an interest in drama and Monarch, or was there any programs there?
Yes, and we had a. We had a teacher, I forgot her name, but she was a wannabe actress who had actually had done some stuff and wanted to be on Broadway, but eventually got a job as an acting teacher. And it wasn't, in high school, it was a secondary thing. It was something you could take as an option. It was an additional class. It wasn't a part of your main curriculum. But I did enjoy it. It was fun, and it was escapism, and I got to do a lot of different play during that thing. I screwed up the big exam. Half the marks were for makeup. You never did makeup. But here comes the graduating class thing, and it was because they needed something real and physical.
Right.
So whatever whatever your audition was, that was fine, but that was 50%. The other 50% of your mark was for makeup, which I hadn't done, and I made a mess of it and scored lower than I should have because I lost a lot of it on the makeup. Which is, eventually I learned to do some makeup on my own, but now you don't need it anymore.
And did you progress to college, or did you go directly to work, or how did that work out?
Well, after high school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I worked at different jobs.
Okay.
I didn't go straight to college. I worked as a postal worker for a while.
Anything memorable?
What do you mean?
Well, anecdotal.
Something about...
Going to the postal, I don't know. I spent a Christmas doing postal work as well.
Yeah, well, no, I ended up working there for half a year and then quit. And then I worked as a cable installer when Rogers was first coming in.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I used to, all I did was run the cable. So,
okay.
One of the biggest jobs was this warehouse where I had to be up on a 50-foot ladder and run cable 1,000 feet to the other end and get it across. the money was pretty good. And had I been a smart person, I could have bought a house down the street
In the beaches.
in the beaches
When they were affordable.
for $10,000. It would now be worth $1.5 million. But that thought never even crossed my mind back then. So I worked, I quit, I took a trip to California, to Los Angeles for a month. I had $1,000. I lived through expensively for that month, staying at the Hyatt and a few other places. And that's when I realized, what did I really want to do with myself, which was acting. And mostly because everybody I met was an actor. The gardener, the waitress, the bus driver, the bartender. They were all actors, but they needed another job so they could still keep going. So I thought, oh, I could do that. I could go back to Toronto, become an actor, and do all these other jobs to continue living. So that's kind
Seemed
of
like a plan.
It seemed like something, yeah. Besides going to California and just wasting a lot of money, you know, going to bars and hanging out, yeah.
So you came back to Toronto and enrolled, or?
And I was looking for something to do, and in the newspaper, there was Ken Gass was offering classes at, oh gosh, what was the name of his
Factory Lab?
the Factory Lab, thank you very much, yes.
Factory Lab at Bathurst and...
No, this was way before then. It became at Bathurst later on, but this was on DuPont.
Oh, okay, right, the original one up at DuPont, because now it's not at Bathurst and Adelaide, but yes.
It was at no, wait a second, it was at Jarvis. Jarvis and...
Oh, I can't remember.
I know, it's a long time ago. But it was an old little studio.
Right.
And he had classes for $125 for 5 weeks, twice a week at night. So I could still do a job during the day and take the classes. I took 3 of his classes. One, you know, the beginner, the intermediate, and then whatever. And then eventually we ended up by doing a play where I met another pal person here. Oh gosh, what's his name now? We all know it. He played Robin Hood for a while.
No, Paul, no, I'm sorry, I don't know who you're fishing for there.
Loxley.
What?
Loxley.
Yes, James Loxley. Thank you very much, Nora. James Loxley, who was also in Ken's classes, and we played. It was a dream play by Strindberg. I played the young soldier. He played myself 20 years later. So it was an odd thing to then meet here at PAL many years later.
Right.
And so it was interesting. But
So what was your first professional gig? Do you remember? In theater or in film or TV?
yeah, there was always theater that started it for me. What do you mean by professional? Do you
Well-
mean like an equity contract, or you mean?
Well, I
just
suppose
a
it is a bit of a fuzzy question, you know.
Yeah, because
A gig.
well, the first paid gig was for a children's theater company. Gosh, I should have brought my resume so I could actually look up stuff. Oh, I don't think I've ever put that down on my resume. It was with Florence Ford, and I forget her company's name. And I played a couple of characters, one of which was, I don't know, an ogre, no, he was, I forget. But anyways, it was shows for young kids. And I was paid $200 for the show. And that was my first gig.
Well, that must have been, that felt good.
It felt good to get paid,
Yeah.
My first professional gig, my equity job,
Okay.
was, I got paid for a number of shows, non-equity. But I got paid for, it was a soap opera on Yonge Street. Oh man. Solar Stage. They were very popular back then. And a number of actors went through it. It was lunchtime theater. And I got to play Maximo Cupido, an Italian who owned a restaurant. And I got it because I did Italian accents and a few other things, and it gave me my equity card, and it was a soap opera. So audiences would line up and have their lunch while sitting there, coming from the offices, and basically watch a play, and each week there would be the next episode. It was quite the job. because we had 7 weeks and of different shows. And so you had to learn one, do it for a week,
Right.
then learn another one while you were, by the 3rd week you had so many scripts in your head. It was rather tricky, but workable. Yeah.
Good training.
Okay.
Well, listen, you've got a number of theater credits here. We can talk about sort of various different stuff, but I just want to run through a couple of them. You've done The Mousetrap a couple of different times, I notice.
Yes.
You've done Scrooge, Romeo and Juliet, Cherry Orchard.
Yes. Cherry
Dracula?
Yeah. I brought a few reviews from some of them just to, because those
Well,
were...
which of those I just mentioned stand out in your mind in terms of memory?
Dracula, the Cherry Orchard. What was the other one?
Well, there was Romeo and Juliet, where you played.
Oh yeah, I played Father Capulet, basically.
And then there is The Mousetrap, which shows up a couple of times on your.
Yeah, the Mousetrap, I played 2 different roles, and not the one on Bloor West, which was on forever, for 23 years. I actually did it in Collingwood and in Port Hope, 2 different productions at prominent theaters. Port Hope Theatre is a beautiful, the Capitol Theatre is a 400-seat theatre that was totally renovated and lovely. There I played Peravicini, the man with the piano, plays it with one finger. And in Collingwood, I played Detective Sergeant Shorter, who was actually the police detective who comes in to find out what's going on here. Well, why are all these people stuck in this place? And you know, whatever, I don't know if you know The Mousetrap or not.
I've seen it.
Oh, right.
I've seen it.
So, yes.
I'm
So,
familiar with Agatha Christie and her work.
yeah, I also was in another Agatha Christie play there, 10 Little Indians.
Oh,
which I-
which I'm quite fond of.
Yeah, I played Bloor, Detective Sergeant Bloor, another character that was, you know, it was kind of evil, but,
And Dracula,
yes.
Van Helsing.
Van Helsing, yes.
Let's talk about that. You got a review there?
Yeah, I have a small review. I only brought that one because, I'll tell you why in a moment. But no, I loved Dracula. Did it in several places. Did it in Brantford originally, and we used the Bell Homestead as the house, and then the barn as a place, and it was a good production there. But then we took it to Casa Loma, and it ran there. We thought it was going to be like one weekend. It ended up running for 5 years.
Oh, really?
In the fall for October Halloween,
Right.
and then for Valentine's month, because it seems to be a love story, and for Valentine's month, and we sold it out for a lot of the time. It was quite impressive. But for that particular one, for opening night, there's a whole long review. I'll just read my part.
For the record.
Yes. I must also give accolade to Paul Amato, who pulled off one of the better performances of Professor Van Helsing I've seen since Sir Anthony Hopkins took the role in 1992 Dracula. Which, the reason I wanted to read that was because they compared me to Anthony Hopkins.
No kidding.
And I thought, well, okay, I like that.
And what did you like about the Van Helsing character that you played it?
Oh, I like that he was a genius. I could never be that smart. I couldn't even come close. I mean, he has his three doctrines, 2 masters. He speaks 5 languages. I loved the idea of playing a genius, and he's fearless.
So how is the play structured? Is it like the Stoker novel? Because Van Helsing comes in towards the middle part of the novel.
No, not in this particular thing. I mean, yes, you think of Dracula, you go to
The
Dracula.
opening and
Yeah, but no, really, you follow Van Helsing through more of it than you followed everybody in the house.
Right.
We used Casa Loma. Up and down the stairs, we had rooms set up for different scenes. We had to have an audience follow us through to different places, and we had to figure out how to move them
Right.
without disrupting them. The main stuff was on the main floor, which is now a huge bar. They've taken that out. But it was a gorgeous place to work it and to do it, and
Right.
the audience got to see Casa Loma as well as the play, and scenes in different rooms and in the dungeon even. We used that for the first year, and then we stopped using it after a while. But it was quite the impressive show, and it really did. It was a hit. It,
You've done a lot of work at the Bell
Bill Homestead.
yeah, you've done work there before, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done I don't know how many shows. But basically that...
And what is that? What is... Describe that a bit, because I think people know who you're talking about, Alexander Graham Bell.
It was his home. It's now a museum. It was moved from one location to another. But we used the front of the house and the grounds to do our plays. And so most of the plays, most of them were period pieces. We would do some children's shows and stuff, but most of them were period pieces. And so the house fit in so well there, because we would use the front porch as part of our set. I've used the back, I've used the barn. I directed some shows there. And so...
and you've also written some material too, haven't you?
Yeah, I've written a few plays, mostly family stories. Pinocchio was one of my favorites, which was an adaptation from the book, and we did that one and toured it to some schools as well. But we did it as dinner theater originally, and then took it to schools.
And who were you?
I was Geppetto.
Geppetto, sorry.
Yes, and Peter directed most of these plays. I've been friends with Peter Muir for years, and we started theater together. And so we've had long-standing 3 different companies. I was a founding member of BTW, but then I eventually got out of that. Now it's his thing.
Okay. All right, now, let's just shift gears for a second, because you've also, and going back into the resume that you provided me with, been working in film since the early 1980s.
Yes, my film career is coming. It comes and goes, and it's never been
Well, because
stable.
there's one called The War Brides, which
Yeah.
Martin Lavatte directed,
Yes.
which was nominated for a number of Canadian Film Awards, I believe.
Yeah, and
Genies, I believe it was.
yeah, it was, and Martin was a lovely man. I played what did I play in that? Brad. I was the brother, the younger brother in the scene, and I.
And you were in ENG, which is a very popular series, but
Yes.
also see Graveyard Shift 2, which was, I think, shot in Toronto, right?
It was, yeah, and I played it was a film within a film in that one, and I was the
Jerry Ciccariti.
yeah, Jerry Ciccarelli, yeah, and I was the line producer, and so I would come and go as the film was being made, but once the story got to demonic stages, the film sort of dissolved, and then it went on to the horror part of it, whatever.
Or is it, you prefer to be on theater?
No, I love doing films, and whenever they pop up, or whenever I score, or whatever you want to call it. But theater's always been a staple. It's been something that I've managed to get more work in it, that's all, really. I did a lot of commercials for a while as well. I don't know, 30 or 40 of them over many, many years. Lately, I haven't scored one. I had a call back for the one the other day. Remember that one, Norm? I got a call back, but I never got the job. And I don't know. I hope they hire someone that doesn't look anything like me. Then I won't feel so bad.
Now, what are you up to? What are you up to these days? And like I say, you're at PAL, and you've been here for nearly a dozen years, or at least 10 years.
At least 10.
Yeah.
I think 10 years. Yeah, I lost track of the time.
You just continue to work, right?
I have continued to work right through.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
I mean, I know we're in the time of COVID, so that's probably problematic.
No, I've been working through COVID.
Really?
Compared to other people, I have managed to do 2 voiceover video pieces, virtual. They're like radio, but you can watch the actors voice them on camera. I did a movie. As soon as they opened up in Ottawa, I was in a film that is it's supposed to come out this spring now, called Daddy's Perfect Little Girl. And I play the neighbor, Albert Foster, who is not a very pleasant man, but he doesn't trust this the 12-year-old girl. He doesn't like her and he doesn't trust her, and he knows that she's up to no good. So he's the obnoxious neighbor. But I mean, unless they cut it so that I won't recognize it, but I don't think so. I should be in at least the first hour of the film, whatever.
Any role models? Anyone that you
Oh, and I did a play when nobody else was doing a play on World Theater Day, which was March 27th. We did a play with masks on, 40 feet away from the audience. It was supposed to be shot virtually so you could watch it at home, and a dinner theater project there, celebrating the Italians of Brantford that helped build the city of Brantford. And that was, what, a couple of weeks ago. I've still got another show there, and I have an audition tomorrow for something in Ottawa, which who knows. It's all, most of this has become virtual. Most of the jobs are now online. So.
Now back to my question. Any role models that you might have had? Any person that you looked? You said you liked that. You were pleased to be something with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, that's someone I always admired, and think he's just, you know.
Who's up for another Oscar? He got a BAFTA for The Father.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, he just got a BAFTA for that.
Yeah, no, he's an amazing genius, you know. I mean, of course, all of them. I love Brando, Pacino, anybody. Pacino, I used to follow him at first. I actually, we did the first production in Canada, playing Murphy in, oh gosh. It was Pacino won an Obie Award for it on Off-Broadway.
Right.
And now, I can't remember the name, but maybe it's there. Maybe it's on the list of plays that, it should be.
Maybe it's on the second page then.
Yeah, you're trying to keep too many pages, so I've cut a lot. I mean, I've actually done about 150 plays.
Oh, okay.
I'm just, I only stopped at 100 marking them or something, and the forgetting of the...
Well, Pacino's an actor who does turn to theater a lot of time.
Oh yeah, no, and...
I know he's known for his film roles, but he does do a lot of theater work.
Yeah, and he loves Shakespeare.
Yeah,
and he's really good at it, actually. I mean, I've heard people try to knock him, and I saw that on Facebook one time, and I said, oh yeah, go and take a look at his Shylock in the
Merchant of Venice.
In the Merchant of Venice.
And his Richard III.
Oh, he loves Richard III. He's been doing it forever. And he went to England and, you know, finding Richard. My goodness, I don't even have that down here. And it was one of...
you should update your resume.
No, I mean, it was one of the bigger plays that played that year. We were in all the papers, got excellent reviews. Except for Gina Mallet, who was, she called us insipid kids that make life so sentimental. I still remember that line. But the audiences loved it, and the other two thought we were really, really good. And I like that about them. But it's funny, you remember the line from someone who put you down more than anything else.
Well, one is a good line, but two, you tend to sort of, slings and arrows.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's funny, I don't have it down here. Why not?
Well, I think we're drifting a bit here, Paul. And
I am.
We should probably wrap. Any sort of thoughts about being a pal? Any thoughts on anything that you want to share with the world? Anything on your mind that you'd like to share? Remember, this is for prosperity. The state of the business. Your thoughts on Canadian theater. I mean, as it stands today, which you came through a time when you said Factory Lab was just a little warehouse somewhere.
The Indian wants the Bronx. That's the name. Fine. Okay.
Because you have come through where there was an explosion of theater in Toronto in the 70s.
Yeah, no, I came
through.
We're
benefiting from that. I mean, Pal's benefiting from that. I mean, prior to that, you couldn't find contemporary Canadian theater.
That's very true. I was always trying to get a job at that time and scored a few, and some of them we had to create our own because there was a certain group of actors. They were all great. Maury Chaykin,
R.H. Thompson.
R.H. Thompson, who's still great and still alive and doing well. But there was a list of them that got all the major theater jobs. So if you wanted to do theater and be a part of it, you either got lucky and got in one of those shows, or you started creating your own projects and then got people to come and see it, and hopefully they liked what they saw. Canadian theater, right now, it is in dire straits. Nothing is open, and some of the cities are foolish. For example, Brantford. I'm going to say, and hopefully they don't hear this, but
Well, we can always edit it.
no, I don't think it's necessary. It's outdoor theater is the only thing that really you could do right now. I mean, you can do indoor theater, but then you need to spread out the audiences and spread out the actors.
Social distance.
Yeah. But outdoor theater, you have the space, you have the time, and you can socially distance without a problem.
Right.
But the fear, I mean, yes, we do have a pandemic and people are dying all the time, and it's a drag, but you know, you could do outdoor theater and still do that safely, I believe. And I think that's one of the things that should be going on right now. All right. Well, this is just a little ego boost. It was the best review I ever received from a writer, which was Paul Amato was outstanding as the slick-tongued sleazebag Frank, a man who takes philosophical cynicism to impressive new heights. Frank is the corroded heart of this play and the very embodiment of inhumanity. Although gifted in logic and certain about everything, Frank has about as much natural human feeling as the lining of a septic tank. He'll say whatever he needs to say to appease people, but believes none of it, and when things don't go his way, he blows several caskets. For Amato's performance alone, this piece is worth a watch. Still love, and it's a hell of a challenge for the character I played. It's a 3-hour play, and he's in almost every scene, and whatever somebody says, no, it's him and Maria, his wife, that carry that show. But anyways, the reviews for that one were, I'll just mention my center. The parents of the Tapino family stole the show for me. Giuseppe, played by Paul Amato, and Maria, played by Viviana Zarillo, had superb performances. Their physical comedy, in addition to their exaggerated accents, made them likable characters. Giuseppe's inability to pronounce his grandson's name and had me giggling even after the play was over. That's that one. All right. This was for the Cherry Orchard at the Guild Theater outside. A lovely production. It was an ambitious show and it was huge. Amato gives a strong performance as the businessman Yermalai. That's there was other reviews but I couldn't find them. So that's that one.
People buy their expensive leather jackets and their jewelry and all that sort of stuff. Oh, black, but also one little accessory, a pin maybe, or maybe you've got something going on. They always, I always had a Warner Brothers pin, which I discovered, which I found in the Trinity Bellwoods Park on a Sunday afternoon, and it served me so well. All I did was stick it there, and it had a little Bugs Bunny on it, but it had the classic, WB logo on it, and everyone just went for it. Where'd you get that? So it wasn't like they don't, and they just ignore this black and it's just got this thing there and then that was it. And you suddenly got attention. You can be talked to, so it's one of the tricks of the trade. You damn well know that.
Well,
of course they show up in black.
Yeah, of course.
You can go and feel guilty later. Someone 200 years from now is going to say, who was that guy?